Hi guys, it's me, Dayla, again, and welcome to my channel. We talk about a lot of stuff here, but if you're new here, hopefully you're here to learn a little bit more about pregnancy and motherhood and different stuff like that. Today we're going to be talking about the different ways that I prepared my house and well, not really myself, but my house and the things that I bought for my free birth, and to be as prepared as possible, but not like overly paranoid, because it's important to kind of put the mindset that your birth is going to go completely as planned and that you're not going to have too many interventions. However, it is good to be prepared. So I'm going to kind of go through the different things that I bought and the different things that I did to prepare my house for a free birth. I don't know if I'll link the actual products, but I might in the description box. And I might show pictures of them. I don't know. I'm bad at video editing, so I'll probably just talk about the different things that I got and the different ways that I prepared my house. So free birth is different from a regular home birth because free birth you don't have a professional assistant or a professional team. So we don't have a midwife, we don't have doulas. I've literally prepared my partner and our daughter as much as we can to have a completely unassisted free birth in our house. So to start with, I will talk about, I guess, how we prepared our furniture and my car, because you just never know when your water is gonna break. And so the first thing that I'll talk about is I have literally prepared my house kind of up and down with expectation of maybe where my water is gonna break. So since I'm at 36 weeks now, I actually have, and we have dogs, so puppy pads are a thing that we're familiar with in our house. And when you buy puppy pads, you can either buy like hospital incontinence pads or you can buy dog pads, and they're the same freaking thing. They're like 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters squared, or you can get a smaller version, but we go for the big versions. You can get them scented or unscented, and you can get like the big name brands, or you can get like no name brands. I've used both for my dogs before. So the brand that I personally chose to use to prepare my car and our bed in case my water breaks either place is actually the ASPCA brand of urinary pad. They look exactly the same. They're unscented. The thing about the ASPCA package is it comes in a pack of 50. It's unscented, and a portion of the proceeds go to support the ASPCA. Now, the other brand that we've used before that I really like for my dogs is the Hearts brand, and they're lavender scented. The thing about those is sometimes the absorbent material, which is kind of like a mesh fabric kind of a thing with like a fiber fabric over it, sometimes the Hearts brand, the absorbent material is kind of bunched up, and I don't like that about that brand. They smell really good though, and you can use them if you have dogs too, but I like the ASPCA brand because they're about $6 cheaper for the same amount. So you get 50 pads, $9, ASPCA brand, unscented. And I put them in my car, the seat area, and then I have laid the entire side of my bed, which is what I'm sitting on right now, with these pads. So hopefully when and if my water breaks either in the car or on the bed, we'll have a little bit less cleanup to do. So that was one of the first ways that I prepared my house, which even if you're not doing a free birth is just a good idea, because you just never know when and if your water is going to break in either of those places, and you don't want your bed or your car to be like covered in goo. So anyways, that's the first way. The second way was preparing my tub. So I did not go out and buy or rent a birthing tub, okay? One, they're completely not allowed in our lease. Like, there would just be no way to, even like a kiddie pool in my living room with a tarp down would just be too hard to redrain into our back patio. Definitely not our front, because the front door, you know, our landlord actually lives on site, and he's kind of a dick. I'm not gonna lie. He's probably never gonna see this, but he's kind of a dick. So I don't want to have like a tube going to my front draining birth liquid water, and I can't in my back patio because it's all concrete, and there's like a little strip of water drainage by the house to keep the water, like when it rains, from flooding. However, since we moved in, and this is like a brand new property, that drainage strip, I guess it's like a metal strip with like little slats in it, has rusted. And so, like, I don't know what kind of shit he bought. He was not a good builder when he built this stuff, because this is like a new property. But he put in this strip of metal, and it had little slits in it, and all of the slits have now rusted. And so even when it rains, like, there's like one port for all of the water to go out on our patio. So it would just be kind of risky to have, I don't even know, like a 200-gallon kiddie pool in our living room and have to drain all that liquid somewhere. It's just messy. So what I did is, they have the plastic tub liners. It's just like a birthing tub liner. They have the plastic tub liners on Amazon for all the different shapes of tubs. It took me 2 different orders to get the one that's the right size for our tub. But basically what we're going to do is, if I get in and back out, I have 2 liners, but also all you have to do is, when you're draining it, you just like poke a hole to where it basically strains any of the goop, but still will drain the water into your drain. So we did that. We opted for that option. Some people labor also with just like the shower water on them, so they don't have an actual like tub. And I don't know how committed I am to actually sit in a tub during labor, but we'll see. I don't know. I prepped my tub. That's how I prepped my tub. So I prepped my car, my bed, and my tub at this point. The next things that I considered were Placenta Services, which is a thing that people do, okay? So I've consulted with a couple of professionals that actually offer this, and again, I'm not sure if they'll actually be able or available to support me during my birth, because they've been really consistent with replies as well. And it's raw meat, okay? Like, when you think of a placenta, like, it's raw meat, and you have just birthed this organ that is raw meat. So you have to kind of be aware, and you have to be prepared to clean it and process it quickly. Now, thinking about that, you know, you want to be able to do it quickly, but you also want to facilitate the fact that you may not want to do this immediately after you give birth. So there are 3 essential steps online to how to prepare and clean your placenta. Essentially, you remove the umbilical cord part, and then you remove another part of the inside of it. You just get rid of that. And then the main part of it, the main portion of it, if you're going to be using it for anything, you want to basically put it in a cooling area, right? You don't want it to get normal room temperature. You know, you want to chill it quickly because it's raw meat, okay? And I know that sounds like really creepy. I'm like, raw meat, you know, what am I gonna do with this placenta? I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. Like, I would hope that I would have enough energy to encapsulate it, or, you know, pursue the different things that people do with their placentas, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll have energy. So the way that I prepared for dealing with my placenta is, I got a cooler that is brand new and sterilized. I have a sterile bag so that I can put it in the cooler without ruining the cooler. I have a placenta bowl, which is specifically, it's not special, it's just a bowl, a cooking dish bowl that's rather big. You can put the placenta in so that you can chill it or prep it or clean it or whatever, catch it essentially. And then I have a food processor, which I didn't really use food processors before at this particular house of mine, so I bought a new one. And then I bought a food dehydrator. So that was the way that I prepared to deal with my placenta. Whether I will actually deal with it, I still don't know. But those are the things that I bought to be prepared in case I decide that I want to do those things. When the placenta comes out, chill it immediately, clean it, get it in a sterile location, and then decide what you want to do with it, which maybe I'll dehydrate it, food process it, whatever. I have a steaming pot. I already had that. That wasn't something that I had to buy, but like if you are going to process your placenta to either eat it right away or encapsulate it, you essentially cook it by steaming it, and then you'll either dehydrate it or you will like chop it up and put it in stuff. I don't know, whatever. More power to the people that eat their placenta. I don't know what we'll do with ours. Then the next factor that kind of goes alongside the placenta is the umbilical cord, right? You want to be prepared, having a free birth, to deal with your baby's umbilical cord, unless you're planning on a lotus birth. Now, if you've never heard of a lotus birth, that's totally okay. A lotus birth is a birth in which the parents opt to keep the placenta attached to the baby until it naturally falls off, which could be 3 days, 5 days, a week. Typically it falls off before day 10, but they leave the placenta attached because there's really no danger to that. The placenta is essentially sterile, but some parents opt to just leave it on, and that's totally okay, but it's called a lotus birth. We won't be doing that. We will be processing the placenta or taking it off of our baby. And so we prepared in how to handle that ourselves. Me and my man have looked into and researched and gotten like knowledge from nurses, midwives, and birth professionals on how to properly remove the placenta and cut the umbilical cord on the baby. Now, there is a specific amount of umbilical cord that you leave, usually 2 to 3 fingers worth of cord, because you don't want it to be too close to the baby because it has a higher risk of bleeding. So you want to take your baby's belly button, right, which it will be the belly button, but essentially where it's attached. You want to give enough space of the umbilical cord, and then you want to clamp it, okay? So what we bought is umbilical cord clamps. We also bought a sterile suture kit, not to do stitches, okay, but you can also either clamp it or tie it off. So the thing about tying it off is if you don't know how to tie it off and you don't do it tight enough, the baby can still have bleeding. So we opted to have both prepared. We can clamp it, and then we can also tie it with a sterile suture if we need to, and then clamp it a little further away, and then you cut in between those clamps. So we also bought sterile surgical scissors. So to basically prepare to take the placenta off the baby, we bought umbilical cord clamps, we bought sterile sutures, and we bought surgical scissors. Those 3 things. Now, another way that we decided to be a little bit more prepared for our free birth, and these are things that you just want to have, okay, whether you're doing a free birth or not, these are good and useful in the care of a baby, so they're very helpful to have. We bought an infrared thermometer, which can be good to determine the temperature of the birth pool. It can also help determine your baby's temperature at birth. It can help you just make sure your baby's healthy. And the infrared thermometer, like, you literally just hold it, you don't have to touch anything or sanitize anything after or buy those stupid little ear cover thingies. So it's just like click, oh, I know the temperature. And then the other thing is an electronic nasal aspirator. Now for afterbirth, this is really important to have. Not necessarily an electric one, but at least have an aspirator, so that because your baby is going from living in a wet environment, being a little merman or mermaid or meralien, I don't know, inside of your amniotic fluid, and then they're coming out into this super dry air and they're learning how to breathe. So they're gonna have a lot of congestion, they're gonna have a lot of mucus, and a nasal aspirator is great because you can suck the snot out. And there's so many videos of people showing those little suckers that you literally suck it with your own mouth. Those freak me out. No, so I bought an electronic nasal aspirator, which is cool to have for the birth, because when they're first born, they can have fluid in their mouth and they can have fluid in either nostril. And one of the ways that you check a baby after they're born is to close one nostril, make sure they can breathe through that nostril, close the other nostril, make sure they can breathe through that nostril, close their mouth, make sure they can breathe through their nose, close their nose, make sure they can breathe through their mouth. It's just one of the checks that you go through. You can, when the baby comes out, you also kind of want to like burp them a little bit to help that fluid come out. And then within the first 24 hours, you're making sure that both nostrils are clear. You can also aspirate inside the ear because they have a really short, or the one that we bought, it has like a really short cone. So you could just barely stick it in there and you can suck the fluid, the amniotic fluid out of their ears to make sure their ears are clear so that they can hear you properly. So that was another thing that was really important. Another thing that's not necessarily necessary 100%, but we wanted to make sure that we have it just in case, so that for any cuts, scrapes, openings in either my downstairs area or on the baby's umbilical cord, and there are different opinions on whether or not this is necessary, but one of the things that you can have is iodine, which is a surgical cleaner. It's a very safe surgical cleaner and it helps kill bacteria almost instantly, and you can just like dab a little bit on anywhere that is cut and it helps sterilize that area so that bacteria is a little less likely to interfere with the healing. And so I made sure to have a little bit. I literally got like the smallest bottle because you don't need a lot at all and it's extremely helpful. So we bought a little bit of that just to have it with us and available to us for that day. Now, a couple of other things, especially for like the postpartum period, whether you're having a free birth or not, just handy to have. I also got, it's actually for tattoos, and I've used it before many times, and I hope I say this in the right order because I can't look it up right now. Let's see if I can see it. Okay, I can't see it, but I'm pretty sure it's TKTX, but it might be TXTK, but I think it's TKTX lidocaine cream, and it's typically used for tattoos. So if you look it up online, it's going to say tattoo numbing cream. This is the strongest anesthetic topical cream on the market that I have found available for purchase over the counter. Most topical anesthetic creams top out at 5% lidocaine. The difference, this one, is it is 40%. So literally you put it on an area, you usually kind of cover it with either some gauze or you cover it with like plastic wrap. I use it a lot on my wrist because there's still a lot of pain from the traumatic injury that I had. But I have a crap ton. I bought like 2 sets. They have them in cases of 12 on their website. Buy it from their website. Do not buy it from Amazon. Do not buy it from Walmart.com, because if you do, you're getting a fake, okay? And I've bought the fakes before. They don't freaking work. Get it from the website, okay? And you can order a whole case. It's not that expensive, honestly, for what it is. Get it, because literally, if you smear it on like a pad for your perineal area or your vajay, okay, either you can probably use it like during birth, like put it as a prep, like before you're fully dilated, and you can put it down there and you can actually wipe it off and sterilize the area again after it has absorbed. Then after, you can prepare pads with it on there, and you know, not like pre-prepare because you don't want it to oxidize, but you can literally put it on a cotton pad or on a little piece of fabric on your panties and put it there, and it will numb you up for up to 3 hours. Totally numb. You cannot feel shit, okay? Oops, a curse, but can't feel shit. Super helpful, okay? I also bought these gel ice packs for the same reason, and I think that they're gonna be great because I don't have to prepare padsicles in my freezer. I can literally just have these little gel packs that I can kind of break up, put them in my panties, and have them cold, because a lot of people do like the disposable padsicles, and I don't use disposable pads anyway. I use cloth pads. So what I did was I bought the reusable, they're like little gel ice packs for your butthole and your vajay. So I think those are going to be really helpful for that. I went ahead and basically bought everything that the hospital would provide for me, like a peri bottle. I bought those gel pads. I bought hemorrhoid wipes with the witch hazel. I bought big like mesh underwear, just everything that the hospital would provide basically for your downstairs area and the postpartum period, because I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say, oh my god, don't bring that. If you go to the hospital will provide everything. They'll provide all of that stuff. But I've also heard now with the pandemic going on, they're providing a lot less things to take home for moms, and some of them don't even provide you with diapers and wipes for the 3 days. Some of them make you stay there. So it's important to be prepared because you don't know what they're going to provide, if they're going to provide anything anymore. So I went ahead and pretty much bought everything that everyone lists that the hospital provides, because one, I don't want to go to the hospital, and number two, if they don't provide it, like, I still want it. So I made sure that I would have everything. Now, one of the tricks that I did for all of the things that I just mentioned in this whole video is I waited until I was within 30 days of birth, because if you buy them before 30 days, most places return policy is 30 days. So if you buy them before, you're committed to having them and keeping them. However, if you buy them within 30 days, and then let's say like I have to have a hospital birth for some reason, and I don't use the umbilical cord clips or the sterile surgical stuff or whatever I don't use, it's all still in the pack. I didn't take anything out of the package, so I can return it. So that's really cool. So if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna do the FreeBirth route, and I know it's really hard to predict when you're actually gonna go into labor and be like, okay, now I'm within 30 days. However, if you make it to the last 30 days and you can wait that long and trust your body, and you're in a good state and all of your checks are going okay, then I recommend waiting until the last 30 days to purchase your preparation stuff. Because if you don't use it, you can return it. So you don't waste money or you don't lose money in stuff that you didn't use. So that was another little trick that I did, so that in case we, for any reason, there's special circumstances, whatever, I don't lose money on the things that I don't use, which is just an awesome way to look at it. So I hope this helps if you are planning a free birth or a home birth or just planning for postpartum. I don't know. I hope I gave you some ideas on how to be better prepared for your labor, home birth, prepping your house, whatever. And I really hope that you enjoyed what I had to say. And if you liked what I said and how I said it, please like, comment, or subscribe. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. And I hope you have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.